So here we are, episode 4 of Ironheart. And where did we leave it last time? Well, Riri was having a panic attack. Why? Because she might actually face the consequences of her own actions? Oh my god. That's the last thing that a woman in Marvel wants to do. Hi everyone, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. Now don't panic. I'm not dying of gangrene. The green screen's just extra greeny, screeny, reflection-y today. So I think, heaven forbid, I might actually have to get out the proper lighting going forward in these videos. But not today, because today, I don't care. So we start off the episode with a flashback with John and Parker as they're breaking into a house, doing what they love. I can only imagine that somewhere out there, there's a little Riri Williams that's really jealous that she's not coming along. Please, can I join you? I want to steal stuff too. Parker tries to crack into a safe. He gets caught by the guard, and then John shoots the guard to protect Parker, and they have to flee the building and split up in the process. That's where the flashback ends, and the League of Unexceptional They-Thems then decide to meet together to mourn the loss of John by dressing like an absolute twat. This moment might actually be my favorite moment of all of Ironheart, because whatever that thing is starts talking about, oh, here's my memory of John, and they all start chiming in with little memories. And Parker just complete and utterly zones out. And all the prattle and nya just fades as he's staring daggers into Riri because he knows that she killed his cousin. But Riri, she tries to play it as cool as possible by acting as suspicious as possible. Roll credits for Ironheart. So we're back at Riri's home now, and she's examining the piece of fabric that she cut off from Parker's cloak. She's looking at it under the microscope, and Natalie's questioning her about it, and she says, "It looks like internal combustion." What? What? I have a question. How do you think you came to that conclusion on a piece of fabric? Is it lined with freaking pistons inside of it going and fucking steam's rising and shit? I'm sort of, I think they wanted to say something that might have sounded clever, but it's Riri Williams, so as on target as it'll ever be, it always comes across as fucking retarded. Energy just can't pop up out of nowhere, says the AI genius Natalie, created of course by Riri Williams. It defies laws and physics. Sorry, come again. Sorry, which law does it defy? Jaywalking? Well, I guess so. I guess it does defy jaywalking. But I think the term you were looking for, genius, was laws of physics. You see, the and the of in this situation are very different indeed. You see, with the word of, then you kind of sound like you're pretending to know what you're talking about. But when you've got the word and, it kind of sounds like you were made by a fucking retard. You know? So, Riri's mum comes into the room, and Riri keeps mishearing what she's saying because she's panicking so much that she might have to face the consequences of her own actions, aka Parker's gonna kill her. Oh, and by the way, in case you were wondering, no, Riri has not expressed in any capacity whatsoever any remorse for the death of John, or the death of the guards, or the death of the owner of that company that were murdered last week. Doesn't care, just interested in what's going to happen to her. Much likable character. She says it herself. Why are you acting so calm, Natalie? Like, I didn't just let John die. Yes, you did let him die. And yes, you could have saved him, and you chose not to. Now, you have to remember that the Natalie AI construct is made up of Riri's interpretation and brainwaves and all of that. So the AI has the same moral compass essentially as Riri does. So when she says, stressing over an act of self-defense is gonna get you killed. Well, you see, it wasn't actually an act of self-defense. At the beginning, during the fight, absolutely. But when both of you parties were incapacitated because of the carbon dioxide, then you choosing not to save John was not an act of self-defense. It was an act of preservation, but not self-defense, self-preservation. You thought if John died, then they would never find out about you and you would get away scot-free. However, it didn't work out that way, and that's what's actually got the character of Riri really mad. She literally is pissed and scared because she didn't get away with murder. So likable. This is why we talk about this being a villain origin story. Nothing here is heroic. Nothing here is based in heroicism. Nothing here is selfless or altruistic. Nothing whatsoever. Everything is self-serving. Riri is a narcissistical piece of shit. So then Natalie does say something a little bit more sensible, and that is call Shuri in Wakanda. To which Riri just palms it off. Oh no, I'll call her up and say, look, I've got myself into all this trouble. Oh, sorry. And then she'll just hang up on me. Ugh. Complete cop-out stuff. You see, if Shuri was a hero, and again, they are trying to make these characters heroes, at least in name only. I mean, I know they don't act like heroes or behave like heroes or have any heroic traits, but they are meant to apparently be the Marvel heroes. Then Shuri would come and help Riri in a time of need, because that's what a hero would do. But you see, Riri doesn't understand what a hero is, what a hero does, therefore can't relate to it, so just thinks that Shuri would hang up on her, because in her eyes, that's what Riri would do to anyone else in the same situation. So then Riri thinks, I know, I'll go over to Joe, aka Ezekiel's, and let's see if we can sort this out, considering I dropped his blooming tech in that greenhouse last episode. And then when she gets there, the house is covered in police tape, and Ezekiel has been taken into custody, and they've got a bunch of black market shit on him. Oh well, it's just another life that Riri's ruined. No biggie. I make a quick cameo in the episode. Oh, piss off. I thought I'd get it in before you fucking assholes did. Besides, he's in way better shape than I am. We then cut to the 41 percenters, and they're discussing Ezekiel Stain's imprisonment, with Ghost saying he's never going to survive in there, to which Shea Coulee replies by saying, you know, you do kind of give pen pal prison wife vibes. And I said to myself, that's a line that a writer decided to put in a show. Oh, man. Oh, streaming was a mistake. Riri decides to visit Joe, Ezekiel, whatever you want to call him, in prison. And she says, I'm going to get you out of here. And he's like, how? To which she immediately realizes that she's just full of shit. I mean, we've known this for nearly 4 episodes now, and says, I'm working on it. I'm going to give you a spoiler alert, folks. She doesn't get him out of prison. Parker does later on. She has nothing to do with anything. She's all mouth and no action. Typical Riri. To which Ezekiel replies, I should have never have trusted you. You're just a selfish kid who can't take any responsibility for herself. And I was like, yeah, dude, you just fucking nailed it. Which really kind of asked the question that the writers must know. They must know that they're just writing a villain. He carries on. You lie, you cheat, you manipulate. Holy shit, let this man cook. It's like he's in my mind. Even if that means hurting other people in the process. And then he just goes, God, I've had enough. I want to go now. So the writers clearly know what they've created. They've created a hideous character that isn't a hero. And if this was the origin story of a villain, somebody so consumed with their own hubris, somebody so arrogant, so self-serving, that even though they've had every opportunity handed to them, 4-year MIT scholarship, Tony Stark grant, Wakanda tech, everything, and they still didn't think it was enough. They still thought that everybody was against them. They still thought that they didn't have the rub. They still thought that they deserved more. Then yes, you have yourself the origin story of a villain, which this is. But as we'll see from later on and other episodes, they will refuse to go down this pathway because they have no true understanding of what a hero's journey is and the redemption and the sacrifice that should come alongside that. Riri goes and visits the rest of the 41%ers, where she discovers that they have hired another tech specialist to help with their next caper. And bearing in mind what happened to Eric Andre when she came on board, she's really starting to feel the net closing in. Parker then questions her about Ezekiel's stain, to which she, again, tries to brush it off. And paranoid as hell now, she goes home and starts fitting cameras everywhere because she knows that they're coming to get her eventually. So she goes to visit her love crush. I don't know what to even call them because nothing happens between them in the whole series. Spoiler alert. And she gives him another one of these watches that she gave her mum. These are the force field watches in case anything goes wrong. And she's leaving, and then she stops and she turns around. She says to him, do you think I'm a good person? And he just looks at her and doesn't say shit, which in itself says absolutely everything that you need to know about Riri Williams. Because if a good friend of mine turned to me and they went, am I a good person? There wouldn't be an ounce of hesitation as to say, of course you are. You're a great person. But when somebody goes, then you know you're fucked. This is her best friend, by the way. Then we have the writers having to intercede at this point because the actual friend is correct by not responding because she's not a good person in the slightest. She's a piece of shit. So they come out with this cop-out of good, bad. Them words don't really mean anything. Actually, they mean a lot because a lot of them are a statement of intent. When you're a good person, your statement of intent is to try and do good things. You might not always succeed, but that's because we're all human and we're all fallible. But when you're a bad person, it tends to mean that your actions are self-governed, self-serving, self-centered, selfish. everything, of course, which Riri Williams encapsulates in this show. So no, writers, you can fuck off with your cop-out, because good and bad, they actually mean a whole hell of a lot. But just because you no longer recognize good from bad, don't try and push it onto morally better people just because you lost your soul many fucking years ago. He then goes on to just lie and say, oh no, what you are is a smart person, because good or bad, it's just whoever's labeling you. Oh, shut up, you stupid tart. You're a protective person. Well, no, she's not. She's self-serving. If she's protecting somebody, it's because it benefits her. And as regards to whether or not she's smart, we've seen from the fact that she's made horrendous decisions throughout this whole show to put her in the position that's in right now. She's the furthest from smart that there will ever be. The person who called it straight down the middle and got it right was Ezekiel in the previous scene, where he told everybody exactly who she was. But they're setting him up to become a villain later on. And it's a bit of a sad state of repair when your villains know exactly who your hero is. Jesus. You're a complex person, he says. I liken you to Spock. To which Riri replies by saying, Spock, I always thought I was more like a horror. Why? Because she's a black female and so are you? And that's the only thing that you can relate to? Superficiality? Oh, wait, no, I absolutely agree with you. I think that's the only thing that you can relate to, superficiality. And in all fairness to her best friend again here, he says, oh, please, the only thing that you two have got in common is complexion, which is correct. Again, highlighting her superficial nature. It really is so insane that your ancillary characters are the ones that have to constantly correct Riri on her bullshit. And the only character that will never learn from this is Riri. Ay, ay, ay. So Riri is so paranoid, she's now sleeping in the Ironheart suit because of Parker gonna come for her at any moment. The watch that she gave her mum's watching TV, a couple of gunshots go off on the TV show. I think it's the X-Files that they're watching. And the shield, protective shield, pops around her, to which Ironheart bursts into her mum's room, smashing the door off. And it's only now that they feel they should have a conversation. I ain't touching this. I ain't touching this. No.
With a box of scraps!
So Riri says to Mum, yeah, do you know what? I think I do need something. I need something to unwind. I've been so caught up in work. Hey, let's go to that magic shop that you're always talking about. What? Just high street magic? Okay. Okay. This is going to be fun. Is it called Deus Ex Magica? No, it really should be. It really should be for the part that it's now going to start playing in the show going forward.
Black girl magic!
Oh no, the show introduces another girl who would probably be much better suited to play Riri Williams. Now, I am absolutely saying that she's horribly miscast. And when she introduces herself as the dutiful Oompa Loompa, I couldn't help but think to myself,
I like this one.
oh, then she just teleports them to a parallel plane of existence because every twat waffle in this frickin' universe now knows how to do magic by going... And they read a book, and they're the bestest ever. And oh, quick, reference Strange, so people be like, "Oh, they said the thing that we might actually potentially like." Oh shit! Look, I know it's called the dark arts, but aren't we taking things a little bit too literally here? Okay, I get my coat. But don't forget to tip your waitress. Oh, by the way, Riri's mum seems to be completely unfazed that A, magic exists, B, she's on a different plane of reality, C, that this fucking show is in any capacity believable. I just realized a t-shirt says, "You're too good for him," because it isn't a Marvel show unless you stick your by-the-book formula bunch of misandry into it, because all these women hate fucking men, always have, always will, massive chip on the shoulder. It's probably why all their female characters are complete Comatage is no place to raise a child. That's why I brought you back here to Chicago. Murder capital of America. I would rather take my chances in Comatage than fucking Chicago, okay? So a little bit of hocus pocus, shove up your mocus. Later, they say, ooh, this bit of fabric comes from a dark dimension. No shit, Sherlock. I think anyone could have told you that based off what the Hood's been doing. Anyway, they said whoever it keeps in contact with or whatever, it possesses them. And then they go, nay, it influences them. So whoever is in possession of this, you need to avoid them. You need to leave them at all costs. And Riri thinks to herself, wait a minute, I need to avoid the criminal organization that's doing shady shit that I just fell in immediately with because I wanted some money. Oh, I wonder who could have told me that. Oh, yeah. It's called common fucking sense. Something this show lacks in abundance. You need to destroy it, she says before kicking them out the sweetie store. And then Riri says to her mum, oh, I used my cutter to take a piece off, but that just divided the particles. It didn't destroy. I'm pretty sure dividing the particles on something is fucking destroying it, you dumb bint. But we're going to go through a montage of attempting and failing to destroy the fabric that she cut off easily with a laser cutter, that she could just get the laser cutter out and keep systematically destroying. And when Riri's mum works out that she's just been manipulated by Riri to take her to her friend's magic shop to find out what the fabric is, she calls her out on it. And so what does Riri do? Apologize? No, she shouts at her mum, gets in her iron suit, and pisses off like the complete selfish, horrible, narcissistical, self-centered bint that she's always been and always will be. Oh, and by the way, Riri says something amazing here. When her mum calls her out, Riri says, if you don't want me to lie to you, don't ask me these questions. Oh. Your Marvel hero, ladies and gentlemen. So Parker breaks into Ezekiel's cell, and Ezekiel, because he's a stupid white guy, says, are you with the lawyers or something? To which Parker says, obviously not. But hey, white people, fucking idiots. Parker says, you can rot here in prison, or if you want, you can join my group, have a think about it tonight at Lights Out. Obviously, Ezekiel is going to take the offer and get out of prison. Then he's going to have his head shaved and turned into a cyborgy fucky witty. I don't know. So Ironheart travels to Ezekiel's secret base. This is the secret base with all the illegal arms and all the black market circuitry and technology in an effort to try and destroy this little piece of fabric. This fabric which has come from a very dark dimension and is obviously exceedingly dangerous. And the fewer people that know about it, the better. So she orders Uber Eats to be delivered to it. The secret base with all the illegal tech and weaponry, and she's a fugitive. She could be being tracked by the police as well as part. She orders Uber Eats. You're Marvel genius, everybody. I posted this on social media, and some people just started losing their minds. Iron Man gives his address to the Mandalorian. Tony Stark did it as well. Yeah, but you see, the thing is, Tony Stark can also make a bad decision, and he did. But do you know what? In Iron Man 3, that actually cost Tony everything and caused him to go on his journey to get things right and back. It destroyed his house. It destroyed his suits. It destroyed his tech. So he had to complete and utterly regroup due to a terrible decision that he made. He had to live with the consequences of that decision and turn it around and come back stronger. Riri's just a fucking retard. There's a slight difference between the two. Oh, and that piece of cape that she cut off easily with the laser, yeah, she can't destroy it at all, no matter what she does. Which is not get the laser cutter back out, by the way. What if the hood is indestructible, says Natalie, the genius AI. What, you mean the thing that you cut easily with a laser cutter? I'm not going to let this one go, folks. I'm not. Because it's either indestructible or it isn't indestructible. Which is it? Because so far we've clearly seen that it is destructible. It's not, oh, we removed the particles or we... Just shut the fuck up. So Riri gets into her suit and flies off in a bit of a huff because she can't work out how to destroy the bit of fabric that she's already cut with the laser cut. Anyway, we're going to move on now. And she starts having a panic attack midair. And she says the immortal words, I can't breathe. And you have to think that that was 100% on purpose that they would put it. Wow, you can tell that this show was conceived in 2020 and it was finished by the end of 2022. Oh, and do you remember how all those white politicians were so eager to please that they thought the best way to show reverence was to take a knee? I just love it. I just love when people are so tone deaf, which is, by the way, exactly what this show is. Tone deaf. Ezekiel takes the hood up on his offer and breaks out of prison with their help. He gets out of the back entrance and he sees a truck with the 41%ers loading my stuff, he says, into the back of it because they keep evidence in the penitentiary. What? Oh man, I'd say I give up, but I got 2 more episodes of this crap to go. Riri's suit then kidnaps Zay, but let's just say he went on his own volition, which we just saw. He said, no, I don't want to get into the suit, so I don't know. How does a suit that's been designed for a 4'11" girl suddenly fit a 6' man? Asking for a friend, that friend being nobody, because nobody gives a flying fuck, but it's just another weird abnormality. You can see when it's a smaller person getting into a bigger suit, because there's room. But when the suit's designed for a fucking munchkin, and the guy's visibly 1.5 foot taller than her, how the hell does he... Oh, whatever. They don't care. They don't pay any attention. Why should I? Oh, no. Scrap that. Add another crime to the list. Yep, could clearly fit into a suit. During this moment of crisis, where Riri is panicking her nuts off that everybody's going to die because of her terrible decisions, the genius AI Natalie also decides that this is the perfect time to reveal herself to her brother, even though it's not really her, an AI construct, and she... Bearing in mind that this has been created from Riri's brainwaves, the absolute ill timing of this is on par with who she is as a character. So Zay is absolutely horrified that she's made the AI out of her dead best friend and his dead sister, and he storms off in a huff, and Riri says, but it's kind of reassuring, you know, like the mixtape that you made. And I'm just thinking to myself, Riri is actually saying that a mixtape that has a voice message from the actual Natalie itself on it is comparable with a construct of her whole fucking personality that's been manifest into an AI. Oh man, I tell you what, this show's given me some fucking stellar belly laughs. It really has. Zay tells her to delete the AI. Riri looks at Natalie, doesn't say anything. Natalie's like, what, really? And so Natalie steals the suit, goes back in the suit and just... I am loving the chaos that is happening in this episode right now. So Zay storms off in a huff and throws down the force field watch, which Riri gave to him earlier, which, if this show had any brain whatsoever, would be foreshadowing that he's going to get shot, killed, or injured because he doesn't have it. Well, no. There's no repercussions to this whatsoever, so don't worry about it. Ezekiel somehow manages to build a I'm transforming myself into a cyborg type thing in 5 minutes after... This show is so fucking stupid. Shay Coulee, aka Slug, says, wow, I haven't seen code this intricate since Madripoor. You get Madripoor's name out your fucking mouth. In my own headcanon, I'm going to pretend that it was the Soska sisters' No Restraints play Black Widow that forced this thing, whatever it is, to fuck off from Madripoor. She's coming to get you, dude. She's coming to get you. Why do all these so-called tech geniuses have retarded security systems that can be hacked in the blink of an eye simply by changing somebody's name? That sounds really dumb, don't you think? That'd be a really dumb thing for a tech genius. No, whatever. It's written by freaking window lickers anyway. So while Ezekiel's having drills literally put into his brain, sounds legit, Parker here is telling the rest of the crew that he's got a job for them to go kill Riri Williams because she killed John. Why don't you do it? Parker, why don't you do it? You can turn invisible, you teleport. We've seen all of that already. Why don't you just teleport next to her, put a gun to her head and fucking shoot? Or you don't even have to put the gun to the head. You can put the gun up there, fire it, but because you got wibbly wobbly bullets which can move exactly where you want, they could still hit her. It'd be over in 2 seconds. Why send the 41 percenters? Do you think this is... Let's see how that pays off in the next episode of Ironheart. In this episode, there was some good, in as much as a lot of people called Riri out on her absolute fucking bullshit. The bad thing is, of course, that Riri learnt absolutely nothing, nor does she care that she got called out as long as she's all right, Jack. I'll see you for the review of part 5. Until then, you take care. Goodbye, Baloo Boo.